Hello, welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. Thank you so much for being live with us. October the 29th, a special episode for LPO today. Not on our usual 8:30 time, but better late than never. We have the game to preview. Orlando City, it's playing Nashville on a best of three, starting on Monday. We have details and of some news, as well as we're going to do the lineup. And we have new owners also added to the ownership group, current ownership group. Tamia and Grant Hill, former Detroit Pistons player and also former Orlando Magic. I wish I would have seen him more playing in Orlando Magic, but his injuries plagued him when he played for the Magic. So I think fellow Orlandonians, uh, fellow Central Floridians will definitely remember Grant Hill. So, um, and obviously, what are our expectations coming up for this game against Nashville? That is most important. To me, I feel like we can definitely grab this game by the horns and not force a third game. I think we have everything that we need to have in place to succeed. We have also some footage from the training that occurred, the last training for the Lions, as well as press conference by Luis Musi and Oscar Pareja. They still have not renewed them, but by their body language, it seems to me that they wouldn't be doing a press conference together if they would just be not signing with the club. It's just my opinion. Typically when someone steps down or is thinking of maybe they're not counting on me, you don't have them do a press conference, especially Moosey. Oscar, I totally understand, but Moosey, if he's not, gonna continue. Now we didn't see Ricardo. Now that could be, I don't know. Would it be some hints there? We'll see. John's with me. John, how are you? Good evening. Sorry to keep you waiting, my friend.
No, I'm good, buddy. Excited, this is the eve before playoffs, so ready. It's very strange, It was Saturday came, and I was like, this should be the day where we're watching our team play in the playoffs, but and so Sunday is like I'm trying to hype myself up for a Monday night game. I don't really know how to do that. I'm definitely doing a half day at work. I'm getting out of there early just so I can have time to prepare. I don't want to rush over to the stadium, but it's going to be an interesting Monday night first playoff match against Nashville, man. I'm excited and a little nervous as well. I don't know about you, but it's the big one. It's time to show up.
Well, definitely, I encourage everyone in Central Florida to show up to support the Lions. Orlando has a huge chance to make an impact in this MLS playoffs and win it all. If Orlando does this, it will be, I think, the cherry on the cake on the turnaround of this great organization overall. Whether it is in the soccer aspect, also on the general manager side. So um, it would be fantastic for all fans that Orlando would have its first major league trophy ever. I mean, we have the U.S. Open Cup, but this is the actual league itself, right? So um, hopefully we're bound for glory, right? Hopefully. Now, um, unfortunately, I couldn't I couldn't get it out of work. I'm being forced to. We're gonna be doing a watch along of with myself right here with the game. I'll be doing a watch along with the game, as well as we're going to do a post game show, probably a short one. That way people could also listen in on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Unfortunately, due to work restrictions that pay the bills, I have to definitely stay. I can't get it off. Now, if there's a third game, I would certainly be there at Exploria. Now, I was trying to see if it was possible for me to fly to Nashville. $550. Come on, man. That is crazy. But anyways, that's a different story. But definitely super excited um, that Orlando is going to be playing against Nashville in his first game. It's at Exploria. And I know that, people in the groups and things have saying that not a lot of people are buying tickets, but we got to go support, man. I mean, it is just an important game. It's a massive game. We got to go support, but definitely excited. And, I think we have a lot of info, right, John?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's time to figure out this Nashville team, right? We played them twice already this year, and weirdly they came and beat us earlier back in April 2-0 at this Exploria Stadium, and then we went and got some revenge against them and won 1-0. So it's kind of a both beat each other at each other's house, right? The away game wins. So it's going to be interesting to see another 3 games, where we kind of come out on top. I believe our team is much stronger than Nashville are at this moment in time. And so I believe that's going to come across in 3 games. If anything, I think it's an advantage that we have 3 games. It's the kind of team that we could slip up against, Luis, in 1 game. But I
Mhm.
think over 3, our quality will prevail. We just got to hope that we do it quickly and dispatch Nashville and on to the next round.
Correct. Here, watching some footage for the latest training. The good thing is that all the boys are coming in full shape. I think they're all in great shape. Felipe,
Yeah, we have 100% fit roster, which is rare
that's
for us.
that's amazing.
Anyway, rare for us. I don't think we've ever gone into the playoffs with. We've always
Exactly.
had somebody who's been injured, right?
Right. And everyone all over the world is watching Orlando City. I know I spoke to some colleagues in Uruguay. They are very people are saying, "Hey, how can I watch the game? How can I do this?" They have no idea. This is on Apple TV, and also a lot of colleagues in Peru because there's 2 Peruvians in the squad, and the national team is also going to be playing in November. And they acknowledge now that Orlando has a huge chance to definitely make history because of the squad that they have. Duncan McGuire is making some noise there in South America too. For some colleagues in Brazil also that I've spoken to on this on Friday, and how good he's doing as well, right?
They saw
So,
that goal and they went, "Is he South American? Is
right,
that is this kid?
that's what it seems like.
Is that
You know,
where did he learn that from? They're confused."
right. So, I mean, you can see there Antonio Carlos, you had Rodrigo Schlegel. Now, I kind of have a feeling that we're gonna be seeing this guy right here, Dagger. We're gonna be seeing. I have a feeling that Rodri may start. I don't know. It's just a feeling of mine. I wish AC would start. I think it'd be great. But I have a feeling that Oscar's not going to change so much of his lineup. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, to me, one of the keys to victory in this game, and then go with you, John, is to score early. I mean, if we score early, Orlando City 9 out of 10 times controls the tempo of the game, controls the scoring chances, and I believe that is to me one of the most important parts of this game coming up because you set the tone of how the things are going to be going during the game. Also, the crowd is going to go crazy. I think it's important for the 12th man to be present, and I feel like that to me is one of the biggest keys to victory. Make sure that every single person on attacking third is on point, and when the chances are created for those to become a reality. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think we have to score early. I think Nashville is the kind of team that wants to slow the game down. They want to bed in, like they want to make it difficult for us, especially away from home. I imagine they're gonna, put a lot of men behind the ball. They're gonna frustrate us, trying to hit us on the counterattack. And we need to be able to score early and definitely in the first half to be able to put pressure on them so they have to come out and attack more. The longer the game goes without us scoring, the more likely it is that they get one back. And then if they go 1-0 up, Luis, they'll really shut down. Like I can imagine, And I think this year we've shown the quality if that happens that we can come at a team and we can break them down and we can come back into the game. In other years that wouldn't be the case. But we don't want to put ourselves in that situation, right? Like Oscar's talking about, we want to be the protagonist. So I think really what we want to be doing is going two goals up in the first half would be ideal, at least, just to really, make the second half impossible for them to kind of get any hope. We don't want them going into their, the second game at home at their place with any kind of motivation, right? So we don't want to give them a goal from our place. Like even if it's 3 goals up and we give them one right before, like that one can give them some hope going back into the next game. So I would really love just a nice, clean, 2-3 nothing, get a couple goals on the board for our, 3-game playoff, whatever this is. I don't. To be honest with you, Luis, this whole thing is confusing. I'm just gonna say it. Like, why are we playing one team 3 times? That's weird. But in this new scenario, goals are important, right? So we need to get goals because that gets you a win, and then obviously the goal difference doesn't matter. But what does matter is psychologically, if you put 2 or 3 past them in the first game, it's going to damage them psychologically for the second game, for
Yeah,
sure. So
yeah,
it's kind of
but
unprecedented to this first round, right? Like usually when we're talking about playoffs or we did the Open Cup run, etc., it's always that one game, and you can kind of say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to throw everything on it. The 3-game thing, and Victor says that they suck, and you're totally right, Victor. They do suck. I think it's going to be interesting and strange, and I think you're going to have some kind of boring matchups here in these 3 games that MLS is lined up. Like I think like you saw 5-2 from that first game with LA, right? So then the next game from that, how do you come back from having conceded 5 goals to that team previously? Then you have to play them
exactly.
again. If they then it's like, okay, then they beat you. Even if you manage to tie it, like get a win back, then you're still going into the next game like, okay, well, they still killed us in the first game, 5 goals up. Like, so I think it's strange because in a lot of ways, if you're doing a 3-game series, I would argue that you should have goal difference in there, right? Like it almost makes more soccer sense to me to have the goals over the 3 games, right? And then be like, if it ends in ties, then it's about the goals. But what MLS has done is gone, we're not having, any draws, no ties at all. So every game is a win or a don't win. So you can psychologically damage, but getting more goals on the board is not going to help you in the next game, right? But I want to put 2 or 3 past them just to mentally chip away at them. So when we go to their house, they're already kind of a little bit, I don't know what the word is, sort of not depressed, but perhaps broken. Let's try and break Nashville in this first game. That would be good. And especially Hattie Mukhtar. If we could break him, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, um, just like you said, if we totally score like 3 or 4 on them on the first game, that's gonna force Oscar. I mean, it's not a force, but we're gonna see some rotation on the second game. Now we have to make sure that the people that we're rotating do the job, right? So we don't want to, because why if they score 5 on us, we score 4 on them, and then they go through and they force, right, and they force a third game, and then psychologically they can also say, hey, we put 3 on you. You put 4 on us, we put 3 on you. So, and then obviously is do or die in Orlando, right? Which I think Orlando has the upper hand because of the 12-man
I
factor.
think if we lose one of these games to Nashville, it's losing away at their house, like
Exactly.
1
With their
goal
people.
to nothing. Like they will maybe
Yeah.
Pappy specialists at home, but they don't score a lot of goals. They don't have goals in them right now. We have a lot of goals, right? That's what I'm saying. So they're going to try and defend our way through these 3 games. We're going to try and just score our way through these 3 games. Is
Now,
that how you see it?
yeah, I see it. I see it. I see it that way. I also see that we need to do a better job marking defensively their it man. And what I mean there, it man, is Hani Mukhtar. We started doing really good with Carlos Hill, and against New England, and New England just lost. They got clobbered by Philly, and we kind of, in a way, with the rotation, as I was saying, uh, the subs came in, no impact. Carlos Hill's momentum went up. It carried the team, and then they scored two on us. Could have scored a third one also, and could have tied the game at home. We cannot go through that again. I feel like we need to our mid needs to be on point, and everyone needs to go back into defending mode, and be able to, again, we create. I think this year I've seen the most chances created for Orlando City in the attacking third. And you have to understand, Kara went into a drought for many weeks. And then also Duncan McGuire went into a drought for a couple weeks. And within those droughts, we still created plenty of chances through the wings, through Faku, through Nivan, through Rafa. But we need to put it away. If we do not put him away, and then we have somebody like Hani Mukhtar saying, hey, this is my ticket to renew with Nashville, and they could pay me a couple of million, or a couple of zeros added into my check. Let me score a couple of goals in Orlando. When he ups the ante, and then we're not scoring, and then oh my God, free kick, goal. You know, I believe that that's still kind of, in a way, costing us a little bit mentally, and I think we need to move on from that. So scoring early, make sure the backups that Oscar puts in work, and kind of like what they did in against Toronto. Like the backups that he brought in, they gave fresher legs, and we still continue to dominate not only possession but also chances created. So we need to see that. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, I think that we overall, like, Mukhtar could turn it on for sure, but I don't think he's able to do it as good as other years. This year he hasn't been. He's still, a very very dangerous player, but he's in other years been at the top of the MVP list, and this year he's not as high as he was. So I
Mhm.
think he's a little cold. I think also you're looking at they're using Sam Surge up front. He's done okay since he came in, but not really firing as well. I think Pico is a problem for us. That they're a very pacey winger. They have that seems he created a lot of problems when we went and played them. I think they have a few guys with some speed that on the counterattack that create problems. It's not just Hani Mukhtar, obviously. Like Mule could be a problem. Leal, I think, is just coming back from injury. So we have to watch more than just Mukhtar, and obviously he can turn it on at any moment. But like I said, I think he's not as hot as he has been. Right? If we're looking at who's got a star players who are in more form, we've got Facundo Torres and Duncan McGuire, who are much hotter form than anybody who's playing for Nashville right now. Like I said, they're not scoring a lot of goals at the moment. It's just they're kind of, if they do win, it's like by one or two in those last few games of the playoffs. And so I think as long as we go keep in our scoring form, right, and we're continue as we have been scoring 3 or 4 a game, I think we're going to be fine. Really, I think our quality is just going to show out between these 3 games, and we're just
Um,
we're just going to be too much for Nashville. Like with all the assets we've got, Duncan and talk like Faku and everybody who's scoring, for fun right now. As long as that keeps going, then we're going to score 2 or 3 a game, and there's no way Nashville are going to score that many, even if they're playing really well. So I think it's
you're
in the bag.
you're correct. And I actually want to add that we are the better squad, like player by player. Um, but I've seen, for example, like you cannot have Dax McCarty up the ante on Orlando City. I mean that is just utter disrespectful right there. Not to say nothing about Dax McCarty, but I'm just saying it's Dax McCarty. When you go and you ask about, hey, what are some of the best players in the MLS? You think about, maybe the guy from LAFC, right? No, maybe Raul Ruidiaz, maybe, you don't think about a Dax McCarty. And then for Dax McCarty to be so important coming off the bench, like it kind of like against a Felipe or against Junior Urso, like that's what I'm saying. Like we need to show that even our bench is better than theirs. Another one is Fafa Picault. How come Fafa Picault could be relevant? Like he didn't do anything in Houston either. Then you have Teal Bunbury as well. Like, come on, man. Like, you're gonna really, like, like we have the squad, and Aníbal Godoy, the games that we play against Nashville, he didn't do anything for Nashville.
That's what's annoying about these three games not
Yeah,
being close together in a lot of ways is they're so spread out. It's like almost 3 weeks for three games, and that doesn't really mean that means that I don't think Oscar's going to rotate as much. Like I don't think he's forced to rotate. But if we were playing 3 games in a week, then definitely our depth would be a real problem. Like as you said, Luis, once you get outside of that starting 11, that bench is weak. Like they're not able to bring guys off. Like we're going to bring Ojeda. If we're not able to score and it's 50, 60th minute and it's still 0-0, we're bringing Ojeda and Enrique off the bench to cause a whole new kind of problem for them. They're not able to do that.
right.
So
They're not
as
able to
long
do
as we
that.
keep their main threats quiet, which I'm sure the boys have had plenty of time to study up on how to do that, right? They've just been nothing but thinking about Nashville and how to stop them. So I think that Cesar and Wilder, are gonna be able to do enough to keep Hanny and the other guys that they've got quiet up front.
Look, when I look at their squad, and I'm gonna go ahead and take a screenshot here, and I'm gonna share real quick. Thank you so much to everyone that we're 6 people live. Thank you so much for that. Let me go ahead and right here. So when I look at their squad, this is the squad that play against New York. This is the latest squad. So when I look at their squad, right, one thing, and we've played against them before. What I see is when they up the ante, Dax comes out, Godoy either gets out and Dax comes into Godoy's position. Now, what I'm most concerned about in this squad is obviously off the set piece Walker Zimmerman because he's Thor and he is one of the best center backs in the league. And he's now Mayer is also good. He did a pretty good job. He was ranked pretty high against New York. But the double winger that they have, so they probably don't have the poise uh, or the impact that maybe our double winger duo may have, right? When it comes to Angulo and Rafa, for example, right? But when this is a playoff game, now this is not a regular season game. So for players like Leal and Moyle, right, and Shaq Moore, they're gonna go all out. So what I'm concerned is them finding connections on the wings to feed Surge, and then obviously in transition you're going to see Surge becoming the 9, and then more than likely Mukhtar going back to a number 10 role, having this whole attacking third to move around. Now, I want to see what they can do, but I am concerned. I mean, some of the best players to me is Zimmerman, Moyle, Leal, and Mukhtar. I mean, and I think those are mainly their core of players. Now, they're a short team. They're very they don't have a lot of subs, just like you said, and like I said, we have the upper hand. So, and we're playing at home for crying out loud. I think we started a little rocky, right? In the season, people started doing the Civil War with the Papi in, Papi out. But I believe now it's a different story. I think we're very strong at home. How do you feel about our home form now?
Yeah, you know, the second half of the season, we have one of the best home form records in the league. So I think it's a fortress. I think even though it's a Monday night, we're still going to have an incredible crowd, and I think that 12th man will make a big difference for us. But honestly, like looking at this tactic and the formation they play, Louis, it's reminiscent of what I would call like lower league 4-4-2. You know, big man, little man, straight up like old school soccer. Like it's not pretty tactics. It's not, they're not trying to play possession here. They're playing two lines of four, right? Leal and Mule, like you said, are not the kind of wingers like Facu is. They're
Or
more kind of like
Ivan.
an Angulo, right? Yeah, exactly. Where they want to actually, they will defend. So they're going to put those two lines of defense, the defense line and the midfield line, in our way most of the time. And they're going to leave Mukhtar and Serge up there to try and be a creative outlet. On the counter attack, they'll ping the ball up to Mukhtar and he'll try and play with Serge and, on the wingers maybe, and they'll get a counter. That's their whole game, which is not exciting soccer. It's nothing inventive. I think Oscar in the past struggled with the counter-attacking teams that bet in and did that to us. I think mainly he struggled because we struggled to, as a team, break those teams down. Like I said, we don't have that problem anymore. We're able to do that. We've got the quality to do that. So I think Nashville's main tactic now doesn't actually work against us anymore. So I'm trying to think, like, unless they're going to bring something new to the table, if we're going to see the same thing that we've seen from them the last 3 years that we've played Nashville, and now we know how to deal with it, and now we know what to do, I think, again, it's just pointing in the direction that we're going to win this game. And the fact that they lost 1-0 to, the Red Bulls in that final game of the season, it just kind of says, like, you going into the playoffs not hot, right? They remind me of what Orlando City would be like in other years going into the playoffs,
Exactly.
right? That kind of team was
That
like,
we
well, these
barely
guys
made it.
aren't going
That we
far.
scratched the surface to
They're
get
not
there, right?
they're not going far. And they
Right,
know they're
right,
not going far. And we talked
right.
about that. I mean, the Red Bulls right now are, losing 2-0 to Cincy. So it kind of shows you that maybe Nashville, one of these teams that, yeah, they're in the playoffs, but they're not a hot team in the playoffs. They're not on form. Like I said, they're main players on hot form either. So everything points towards our players being in better form and having a better time in scoring goals and being the better team. Really, I'm struggling to see, apart from Hani Mukhtar, what is in Nashville's favor, and what I don't, unless they've got some other tactic, they're not going to be able to bring guys off the bench, like you said. So I think it's kind of obvious. Like, I think Oscar knows exactly what to expect. And I think the boys will have been trained very clearly on what to expect of these 3 games against Nashville. And they will go out and execute the game plan to perfection. That's what I reckon.
Let's read some comments here. Victor Jose Sanchez, I'll be there. Victor Jose Sanchez, this 3 games suck. Victor Jose Sanchez, playoff games should be 1 loss and you out, not 3 games. I mean, honestly, I agree with you. I think it'll make it much easier. It'll make them, I think it'll be a little bit more thrilling. But what we know why they want to
I
do
think
3
9
games.
teams in the playoffs sucks. I
Right.
think the
Right.
play-in game, like,
Yeah.
I think this whole schedule sucks. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about the Red Bulls are playing right now. They also played on Wednesday. So the Red Bulls, this is their second game in the playoffs, and we haven't even played yet. So the scheduling is horrible. It's horrible.
So the scheduling is horrible, but what they want is money, 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 money.
It's like I
Money,
said, Luis, I told
money.
you, I said, I predict that they're going to try and run it like the World Cup where there's a game every night. And that's what they've done. Like, they spread
Exactly.
out these playoff games to have one every night. And I love soccer, Luis. I do. And you love soccer. Do
Yeah,
you
me
want to
too.
watch soccer? If it's not the World Cup, I don't want to watch
Yeah,
it
I
I'm
don't.
sorry,
Yeah,
but
I'm okay.
I got other things to do. I got TV shows to watch. There's other
Yeah,
sports
yeah,
going
yeah.
on.
You have
Like,
a pretty girl right there. You know what I
right, I got
mean?
movies I want to go see.
Yeah, that's
I got
right.
shows I got to be in. Like, there's things
That's right.
happening. So I think the fact that they think they're big enough to to spread it out like the World Cup is a little bit naive, I think, of what the fans want and what they expect. And I think it's also rude to the fans like us that want a playoff game and deserve a playoff game on a Saturday night or a Friday night, not a Monday playoff game,
I
just because
think,
they want to put it on TV. Like it's
yeah,
not.
and I feel it's also because they're kind of in a way washing their hands like Pontius Pilate. They're like, all right, one game for you and one game for you. And then there's a third game. Then whoever, so, they're washing their hands. They're like, okay,
I mean, this is the thing. We
if you be the
finished,
ones who,
higher up, which is great.
right,
And we get that, yes, you get the third home, the game at home. And if you go
right,
through, you keep getting games at home. But, if you're like fourth, for example,
right.
is that really much of an advantage? No, there's like this is, yeah.
Like, I wonder how many people Vancouver brought in. You know what I mean?
I think some of these playoff games are going to look a little weak on TV, and I think that's because you scheduled it on like a Tuesday night, and I think that's if it looks bad on TV, that's on you, MLS.
And MLS,
Right?
are you that scared of the NBA? Let me tell you
I think they're
something.
scared of NFL. I think that's what it
Or the
is.
NFL. Come on, it's you
But
still
the thing is, Luis, we're stopping for international break in the middle of the
exactly,
playoffs. Like that's crazy. I also think that we could make the whole season way shorter. Like we had a month
exactly.
out for Leagues Cup. Like we don't need to be running into the fall and way into like December. Like we could be done. They could squish this thing together, you know? And I think that the longer you push into that fall and the more into the NFL season and the college football season you get, the more scheduling conflicts they have. So it makes more sense to me to be done by, October with everything. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's a larger
No, I agree. I agree.
frustrations of MLS scheduling
We'll
discussion.
keep talking about this in just a little bit. Thank you for everyone that's watching. If you're listening to this, thank you for your support. Make sure you check us out on YouTube as Loud and Proud Orlando. Subscribe. We're trying to get to 1K subs. As well as if you're watching, drop us a thumbs up and also send the video to your friends and spread the word. Duncan McGuire spoke to media. Thank you so much to Orlando City Communications. He has some words here.
First for you heading into playoffs, how excited are you to be able to go into the postseason now with your first season with this club?
Yeah, it's very exciting.
No,
Especially as how the season.
I do want to say they did this on a Thursday. Super tough.
Yeah.
And I think they were forced to do this on a Thursday because this game is on a freaking Monday.
Well, look at us, Luis. We're potting on a Sunday night. I mean, this is
like we're potting on a like I should,
I was thinking about that. I was like the boys have spent like the weekend in Nashville
exactly
because they've had
listening
to.
to
Like
Johnny
they
Cash.
never like it's strange. Like preparing for a Monday night game must feel so odd for them.
Not only that, I'm gonna commend Duncan McGuire and also Abdi and also I don't know if it was Abdi Salim. It was not Abdi Salim. It was another one of the players, another rookie that was drafted. The guy from Duke. Remember the last name? The guy from Duke.
Are you talking about Shaq Mohammed?
Shaq. Yes, Shaq Mohammed. Yeah, they were at Publix.
Oh yes, I saw that.
They were at Publix signing autographs.
You see the line? The line was
Yeah, it was
insane.
massive. Yeah.
I don't know
That's the
which
Duncan
Publix they
McGuire
were.
effect. That's the Duncan McGuire effect.
Duncan, he's a big star now, man.
Yeah,
He's a
man.
U.S. national team player now.
And I think he's super humble. He needs to just keep doing that way. I mean,
Yeah, we
he's
like
gonna
that.
keep shining bright. Yeah,
Keep the mustache too. Big
that's
fan of the
right.
mustache.
Yeah, I think he definitely has
It's
a
a
good look.
power stash. He probably that's where his goals come from.
Not like Samson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it all comes from the stash.
Does your power comes from the stash too?
No, mine's from my beard. It's
From your
different.
beard?
Different kind of power.
Have you let it grow like super long?
No,
I'm sure
no.
Stephanie will be like,
Yeah. It's too hot in Florida
yeah.
for that.
Let's see what he said.
Went, we didn't start off too hot. We were, it was looking like our season would have been done right now. and to be able to turn it around and be with such confidence right now in the team and in the club, it means a lot to us going into playoffs. So hopefully we can keep that going, and it's a very exciting time.
Having to go through that adversity in the beginning of the season, how much of a character building experience was it for not just you, but for the team, especially heading into these playoffs where things are
Come
crazy?
on, come on,
Yeah,
Austin.
there was definitely
No
times
question.
where we dropped points when we shouldn't have,
Just
and we
kidding.
couldn't close out games when we needed to, and we definitely struggled a lot as a team. And in the locker rooms, morale was low, and we learned how to suffer together. And then recently we've learned how to win together and be successful. And we've had those games now where early in the season we struggled and we ended up losing the game or tying, and then now we've learned and we've been winning games that we've been on the back end of things for the last 20 minutes, and we survived, and we do it as a team. And so we've definitely from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, we've learned a lot as a team and really grown together.
Man, he's so level-headed, man. I mean, for that age, that's incredible, dude.
He
Like,
knows, yeah. He
yeah, like, I was a wild child, man. Like, at his age, I was probably like, yeah,
he's paying attention to those media classes in college. I think that's
yeah.
the thing, right?
I,
That
I, I
sometimes
was,
you undervalue that from these kids that come from college that are
yeah,
professional athletes. Is that they've had that life experience, right? The 23-year-old who's been to university has had more life experience than a 23-year-old player who just came straight through the academy and never left his hometown, right?
yeah.
So it's I think he benefits from that, and he shows a lot of maturity
A
for
lot of
sure.
maturity, and it also he's the huge reflection, which is a shot in the air heard worldwide in the soccer world, that the U.S. is brewing their own talent, and their talent comes from the college level, not also from just kids going to the academy. It's also college level, and they're able to excel, right,
Yeah.
in the sport. And you didn't see that before. Now you're seeing it more often.
Well, I think there's a lot of these young, when they're found at like 16, 17, 18, they're sent to Europe, right? You Gio Reynas of the world that are
Right.
going to Germany at 17 to train with, Dortmund. That's one way, but if Duncan ends up being a US men's national team starting striker, it shows that there's a whole other way in the US. You could still go through college system, and if you're talented enough, it's not a hindrance, and you can make your way through the pros that way.
Correct. Let's continue. See what else he said real quick.
Together a lot in that last sentence. Just in terms of this team's togetherness, how impactful has that been for you in your first year to have a team that is so together to be able to make this run?
Yeah, it definitely means a lot. I have a bunch of teammates in the league that I played with recently, and they said, like, some of their teammates say they don't like, there's a bunch of guys that are not good guys, and they're not good locker room guys either. But I mean, here everyone's a good locker room guy. Everyone's your buddies with everyone. You can talk to anyone. You can joke around with anyone. It's really real tight group of guys here, and it definitely just helps on the field as well. That togetherness off the field, it translates to being on the field as well. And you want to work hard for that guy that you're friends with, and being friends with everyone on the team. You want to work hard for the team as one. So it definitely means a lot having a tight group like that.
So there's no egos in the locker room. That's very much what he's saying. I want to say hello to Kai Kamara and Sasha Kleshtin. Massive egos. I'm sorry, I had to say it, but I mean, there's no egos. And look, you have players like Facundo Torres that was regarded one of the most, I mean, one of those young, aspiring, players in South America, right? You have Pedro Galese playing, and I feel like our DPs also come from a place, and I think that's what makes us who we are as a team and as a fan base. So Orlando has not had it like this before, you know, and it has built this resilience within our fandom also that obviously it makes us stronger. And when it comes to these players that are on the squad, you have players that have not maybe made an impact in other leagues. Like Galese was like sent to, he was the fourth goalkeeper in Mexico. Cartagena in the Argentinian Super League, really making an impact, in the last year of being there, but not really through his whole time there. And they know how hard it is to be the new guy, right? Or to be that person in the locker room. So it's great that they're able to give the young kids, making them feel part of the squad.
You feel like that's kind of one of the big contributing factors to your personal success this season.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Having those relationships with my teammates, helping me get acclimated so early in the season, and them having that confidence and trust in me, it definitely meant a lot to me. And ever since I scored my first goal, they just kept showing trust and confidence in me, and it's just been rising ever since.
I think I talked to you about this like early in the season, but having the team leading goals across all competitions, and having this success that you've had, how have you kind of just took that upon yourself and not gotten too kind of high in your highs or low in your lows?
Yeah, it's I kind of learned in college. You're gonna have your times when you're struggling to score, and when you're gonna be successful at scoring. So you know, as a striker, once you get your first, the rest are going to come. But there was those times during the season where I went like 3 or 4 games without scoring, and you get into a little bit of like a slump, and you kind of learn. I've learned in the past how to get out of that slump, and you just get back to your ways as you can through training and working on the things that you're doing wrong. So that's definitely how I'd say it goes.
I mean, super humble, Duncan McGuire. I wish him. I hope he keeps scoring, especially in the playoffs. Right? We were close to predict that he was going to get a hat trick. So hopefully, in this upcoming game against Nashville, he actually does get a hat trick. That'd be fantastic. All right. So, putting it will be the cherry on the cake of a monster season he's had, and hopefully he's able to replicate the next season. Now, John, do you feel like we should maybe get another striker aside of to maybe complement Duncan?
Like next season or
Yeah, next season.
I think so. I I think Enrique is probably better as like a winger
Mm-hmm.
than a striker. So I would kind of say that maybe we don't use him as a striker going forward. Like I see Luis like he keeps being used as a striker, but I'm not convinced by it. So if that case, if you're looking at next year, really you're going into a season with just Duncan. I think definitely Jack Lynn should be promoted. I think it's now or never, right? Like, what else do you have to do? The guy got MVP and Golden Boot at the level below. So if that doesn't say I'm ready for the next step up, I don't know what does. So I think next year Jack Lynn should be a squad player for Orlando City and not be with OCB anymore. Which case, you've got a guy there ready to step in as well, but maybe another striker. But I think you plan to have somebody who's young and maybe pick up another draftee. We seem to be good at that. And see, but somebody who's ready to step in and plan to have Duncan as the main guy. We don't know, right? It could be next summer, and maybe next year he doesn't start the season as well. So we always assume when these players start really well that they're just going to immediately go to Europe like very quickly, within a year. But it doesn't always happen that way. So it could be a case that we're going to have Duncan for another 2 or 3 years. That's what I hope. And until that isn't, then right now let's just plan that he's our main guy up front.
Now, what do you think, John, is going to be Oscar's main strategy for the playoff games coming up?
I
Are
think
we
for
going to see some puppy
Nashville,
specials going on, or
no, I don't think so. I think this first game, it's just going to be, I think, overload them I think that's the issue. I think the last time we played them, we had our wings back. Right, the first time when we played them in April, our wings were not there, and this game is all about the wings with them, like you talked about with Leo and Mule and Moore and Lovitz, right? So I think for us now we have Dagger Dan and Santos, paired with an Angulo and Torres, and those partnerships are there, and we're able to be so much more effective. I think it's going to be a game where you're going to have certain players that aren't able to do stuff like Faku because they get closed out, or Duncan because they're getting closed out. And then you have to look at other guys in the team who aren't being marked. Like maybe this is one for Dagger Dan to be able to get a bit more time on the ball because everyone else is being marked and he's the free guy. And then he can create from the right back position, or maybe it's, a case of process coming in from the other side of Rafa Santos is able to get around, their defenders and bringing big balls from the left-hand side for Duncan McGuire to get on the end of. I feel like the wing backs for Orlando City could be our biggest asset in a lot of ways against Nashville, because when we attack, they will mark a lot of our attacking players, and like they do well, they'll stop us from being able to be as free flowing as possible. And then often that leaves your fullbacks as the guys that have a bit more freedom. And if that's the case, watch out, because Dagger Dan and Santos are some of the best, fullbacks in the league right now.
No, I totally agree, and I do want to add that another strength that Oscar needs to have, especially on both games, is to truly make whoever is the guy who's feeding Duncan, like in this case is Mauricio, to also be detrimental. And I feel also that when Orlando wins, Mauri does a great game overall, and that is because your double pivot is getting the ball back into possession for Orlando City, and then you get somebody like Mauricio to distribute the ball properly at that point and create those chances. Now, we need to continue doing that. And aside of what you said, I think Oscar's strategy hopefully pans out well. It depends on, to me, honestly, it depends on who scored first, right? That's how Oscar's going to evaluate. But again, if you lose against, if Orlando loses the first game, it would be bad, because now we're forced to win in Nashville.
Yeah, that's the worst case scenario from this. And, knock on wood, that's not happening, because, yeah, I think what we want is we use that home game advantage. We put some goals past them, kind of demoralize them a little bit in this first game, that when we go to Nashville, maybe we make it really hard for them. Maybe they get a draw and win on penalties or something there, and that forces a third game. And then, we're back at home again and it's just back to business. But I think if we lose one of these games, it's because of the penalty on draw rule, or because it's like a 1-0 loss at their house. I don't see us losing at home tomorrow. I think it's just a question of how many goals we put past them tomorrow to really set in that mindset of we're the better team.
Completely agree. So, in other news, important news for the club, Tamia and Grant Hill join Orlando City and Orlando Pride ownership group. We have footage here of them talking about why they decided to come in as owners. They're going to be owners. They're going to be minority owners. I remember Grant Hill coming into Orlando City. It was kind of like us getting Michael Jordan in the team. And I will have to say, I don't want to be fake, right? I don't want to be, also, I don't want to be bitter. He was a fantastic player, but I feel like he did not give his full potential to Orlando City, Orlando Magic. And I feel it was because of his injuries, and he didn't have that much of an impact with the Magic as he maybe did when he left the Magic and went to Phoenix, and then he retired. So, but phenomenal player, no matter what, philanthropist, all of that good stuff. So let's see what they said.
General question for both of you: just what was the interest in getting involved in ownership with Orlando City and Orlando Pride?
It started with our kids with soccer. That was
it started with the Orlando Pride.
Yes.
Actually, our daughter, who was very young, we'd come to games, and we had such a great time and a great experience, and we became huge fans. And then, obviously, through the Pride, we were introduced to Orlando City. And when the opportunity presented ourselves, we're fans first and foremost, but to be able to be part of the mission here and certainly ownership group is a big thrill for us, and we're excited, and we're soccer junkies, and we look forward to helping both franchises reach the goal.
Hopefully they're watching the
winning
show. I don't
championships.
know.
That's what it's all about.
When you talk about the ownership, obviously you become familiar with the Wolf family. Just what was maybe the conversations like to be part of this, and the impressions you got from where the Wolf family wants to take these clubs?
Yeah, it's interesting. We have boxes next to each other, so we just kind of met organically. And I obviously had heard so many great things about the family and what they've done in the NFL, and certainly their commitment to this community, to be a civic, to be part of the community, to bring excellence to this franchise and to win ultimately. And we just started talking maybe less than a year, and kind of here we are now. So really, really excited because they're a great family. They're great stewards. They understand what it takes to be successful, and they're going to apply that here to both of these franchises. And so we're happy to be a part of that. Say something.
Oh no, because what I was thinking was when I said our kids brought us to soccer, it was because they started playing soccer.
Right.
We were originally a basketball home. And then our girls, we have two girls, and they started playing soccer. Our oldest started playing soccer, and that just got us interested in the game. And then our youngest plays soccer. And so, of course, we wanted to come to games to show her what it was like, and obviously watching the Pride and them seeing, the ladies playing. We just had a great time. So when the opportunity came, we were excited to possibly be a part of it because we have so much fun when we come to the games, and it's been something that's been fantastic for our family.
And I'm going to say this. She'll probably get mad at me for saying this, but for 17 years of my 19 years, we were together.
I hear this all the time now.
I would, at my basketball games, something great would happen in the game, and I'd look over at her, and she looked bored. But at the soccer game, she's screaming, "Come on, get there!" She's all into it. So
I know,
we both have become fans, fanatics for this team.
That's awesome. That's fantastic, man.
So I am, and she's definitely.
Wow.
I'm like, who are you?
He's like, you didn't do that for me.
You did that for me, but soccer. I mean, I think the atmosphere, the experience, it brings people together. You get into it. It's an intimate but beautiful, big arena, and we enjoy supporting both teams.
Last question I'll ask from myself is, obviously you touched on community. You both are very ingrained in the community. Just what is it specifically about the community of Orlando too that drew you to be part of a club that's ingrained in the community?
So we've been here now 23 years on and off, and I think obviously the city and the community has grown tremendously during that period of time. But I think for us, we understand our platforms and sports and music to be able to give back, to be able to support those and that need it. We've enjoyed being a part of the community in a number of different fashions, and we enjoy being attached to a sports franchise. The beauty of sports, it brings the community together. People from different walks of life, different, we find common ground, cheering for the Pride, cheering for the Orlando City. So I think sports plays a big role in bringing people together and using the platform of the Orlando City and the Orlando Pride to continue with our efforts in making a difference here in Orlando.
That's great. That's fantastic. I don't know. What are your thoughts regarding that, John? Now, quick question. Do they have any say on what players they should come?
No.
I'm just saying.
I think you have to remember when they say minority owners, we're talking like small owners.
But it's
Yeah.
okay because I mean they still like I mean their platforms are huge. So
And I think it's a case of
I mean
the Wilfs are want to have some people in ownership for their publicity, then that's great. And if it works for them as well because of their charitable wing and what they're trying to do, then totally makes sense. Yeah, I think it's great. They're big ambassadors of the city and everything they've done here. I won't speak to his basketball because I have no idea anything about basketball.
no, you don't
I
know
knew
who
he played
Randall
with the
was?
Magic. Obviously, I know that, but I could not tell
No,
you
I mean
anything
he was
about
a
his
beast.
career.
He was part of the dream team.
I know he was a big, big
Yeah, he was
star.
part of the
So
dream team, and he
they've been to lots of games. They're not lying here. They are fans. I've seen them at games. They are big Pride, like they say, Pride fans before City fans. So
yeah,
that's awesome. I think
that's
that
amazing.
shows, and that's why I talk about all the time, like the core Pride audience. We got to tap into those, young teenage girls because that's the core of the audience that goes to these Pride games, and they get inspired by the older athletes. So it's awesome to see. And then I think it's funny because I love it. I love seeing American sports fans, and especially someone like that who played basketball get the soccer bug. Like that's what he said. Like
Exactly, right?
it's funny to see. This is what it's a
Yeah,
different
I
world,
mean,
and
he's not just
you
any
can
player.
love
I mean,
different
he's not just any
sports.
player.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
it's a
he's
totally.
he's
It's
playing against
happening.
Jordan
It's happening
again.
all across the U.S.
Yeah,
Like
I
Louis,
mean,
let's not, like these American celebrities are
also Patrick
discovering soccer
Mahomes.
every day,
Right.
like it's some kind of revelation, And then Will Ferrell turns up and goes, "Hey, I've been over here for a while with my soccer team." But anyway, it's funny to me that people get into that, and I love to see it, and I think it's awesome that there's new owners. It's always cool. We also have the DeVos. People forget that the DeVosses are actually part owners,
Which
part
are
owners as
part
well,
owners
which
of
are
the
part owners of the Magic. So
of the Magic.
I
Yeah.
think there's some synchronicity there, and yeah, it all just seemed to line up. So
Well, hopefully, I don't
welcome to the
see
new owners.
Steve
Oh, I mean, they
Francis.
just joined. Maybe they're going to join and be, the good luck spark we need to win MLS Cup.
Yeah,
There we go. That's the way to be owner, right? You join and then immediately win a
we have
championship.
more
That's nice.
celebrities nearby. Like in Jackson, we got T-Pain.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think if we're going to be represented by somebody, I think that's, nice people like them and not like Pitbull or something.
What
That
do
would be
you mean?
bad.
What about Well, Lil Jon, the East
No,
Side
no, I
Boys.
don't want any of these as the ambassador for
No,
Orlando. Thank you.
no, but no, no, but honestly, like, I'm super happy about it. I mean, Grant Hill. I mean, I come from basketball. Like, I actually follow basketball. I used to play basketball. I know I don't look like I play basketball. I used to play basketball back home in Peru. And Grant Hill, I mean, he's a huge player. I mean, he played against Jordan, Kobe when he was younger. And I mean, when he came to the Magic, it was a huge deal because he was still in his prime, right? And and then eventually Tracy McGrady came also, right? But they expected a little more. He was a franchise player, more of Grant Hill. Unfortunately, his injuries didn't make him be that big of a star, that make that big of an impact. But he did make an impact off the court, helping a lot of the community, especially when he lived in Orlando. And I think that's also very important, right? To bring someone like Grant Hill, that it's someone like, well regarded. He's never messed with anybody. He's never had any issues. He's a family person. He fits everything you're looking for an owner, right? So I'm happy for that, and obviously, hopefully, like you said, it's our good luck charm, and maybe they start their ownership tenure with a championship, right? That's right. And also Luis Musi and also Oscar spoke to us, spoke to media, and we have some of the footage here. Now, honestly, I feel like this tells me that more than likely, I mean, I have a feeling that Musi may stay. I mean, just by the body language. I don't know. This call me crazy, but I feel like there's. I mean, what would he be giving this big conference, right? There's no trust in the ownership on Musi. I think Musi has all probably full support, and same with Oscar. So let's see what they said.
Thank you, everyone.
It's 35 minutes, so we're just gonna probably listen to one or two questions, and then we'll go from there. Let's see.
Get things started. We'll go Luis first, and then
63 points, 18 wins, both record season for everybody. We got 63 points, 18 wins, both most in club history. I think that we're extremely pleased with the way things are going and the way the boys are playing and how things have developed for us. But it's a new season now, right? It's playoff season. It starts on Monday. I mean, it has started already. We've been thinking about this for a while. We didn't know who we were going to play before the last day of the season. So we're kind of preparing a little bit for Nashville, a little bit for Atlanta. Yeah. And now we know that we have Nashville, and it's a new season, and everything that we achieved in the regular season is great, but we are on a mission now, which is winning MLS Cup, and starts on Monday. We're very excited about it. I know that the boys are really excited about it. We've been working hard, and hope that we're gonna have a full house on Monday to get that game won, because it's not a best of 7. It's just best of 3. So we need game 1.
Oscar.
Well,
He kind of gave it to the league, right? I like that. That was great. He kind of gave it to
Luis is yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
He
sure Luis and
knows.
Oscar are like, this is stupid. I mean,
Yeah,
it
this
is
is
stupid.
dumb.
Look, since he just beat Red Bulls 3-0, right? Like LA beat whoever it was 5-2. And now these teams have to play.
Vancouver.
They have to play more games. Like, it's stupid. Like, you're just not. It would make sense to me if you're doing this if it's really tight. Like if there's 4 teams going,
Right.
and it's like, and you're tight, close competition. But some of these are just blowouts. So now you're gonna have to go play a team that just blew you out. Like that's almost stupid.
That's stupid, yeah.
But anyway, I like the baseball.
good afternoon, and first of all, thanks for being here. And as always, to connect us and link us with the community. Entonces, muchas gracias por estar acá y apoyarnos durante el torneo con la conexión con nuestra comunidad. Estamos muy, muy orgullosos y muy contentos de poder participar en los playoffs. So we're very proud to bring the team and the club to these instances again. I think it has been a long journey. Major League Soccer is a long journey, but now with the system, like always, just getting into the playoffs, we are very aware that this is a new beginning. It's a new tournament. We know who we are, we know where we are, and the players are conscious about where we achieved too. But the most important is that we can focus on this moment and think about just the present, and the present is Nashville on Monday. That's all what he cares for us.
All right, we'll open with Austin.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is the 4th year now in a row that this team has made playoffs under your leadership. But just from both of your perspectives, from the behind the scenes as well as coaching staff, what has felt different about this year compared to the other 3 runs in playoffs?
Well, every year brings different challenges, starting with the fact that you have new players or different squads that as leaders you have to manage and try to adjust towards the common objective, which is winning games and winning championships, or have that team who create that consistency during the years. Being here for years and reviewing the list of the players who have gone through the process and
how the club has renewed and how the academy has grown, and the second group too, and how the club is respected in Major League Soccer. I think it's a good moment to recognize that Austin of every piece of uh, this puzzle that has been present in Orlando City during these years. As everyone has making a big contribution to build this project, and we're proud to last this long and being here and keep pushing the club.
No, I would have to say that he did say some quotes. I mean, I wrote some quotes here. He says, Musi said, he, Pareja's job has been fantastic. We have a title. We reached the final in MLS's back. His work is amazing. Every team has his up and downs, but if you have consistency and believe in the work, then it's going into the right direction. As well as he says, Oscar Pareja says, and I quote, and please, everyone that was puppy out, I want you to like take your glasses off, right? Look at me in the eye right now, right? And just take it in, all right? Are you ready? Ready, guys. There was a moment during the summer that no one believed on the players and coaching staff. I repeat, there was a moment during the summer that no one believed on the players and coaching staff. There you go. There you go. There you go. Slap on the wrist. Now you're going to Publix. Hey, sign.
I think there was the that turning point of like the double pivot,
Hey,
and
please sign my ball, please.
things got changed, right?
Oh,
And then
please.
it all kind of turned around. But overall, like we said, they've been growing a squad. It was just earlier this season the squad was not gelling, and I think he tried to change tactics this year, and they didn't work at the beginning of the year, and the squad wasn't gelling, and it wasn't. And that can happen to any soccer team, to any coach. It happens.
That's right.
Like, for example, the Pride, right? Beginning of the year, same thing,
Right.
not so hot. Getting to the end of the season, they look like a real team at the end of the
Exactly.
season. So
Mhm.
it just happens, and that's why we gotta keep this core of this team together, regardless of what happens in this playoffs. But I love that Luis is talking about this as a whole other, season, because that's what it is, right? Like, we got it second. That was great. But this
No,
is a whole other thing now. Let's go for the win. And Oscar knows how to win
exactly.
cups.
Yep.
This
Now,
is our bread and butter. They know what to do. The boys know what to do. Also, I think, Luis, neither of these guys are talking to me like they're in any intention of leaving anytime soon.
exactly.
I don't think there's any, it's year on year, it's growth, they're doing this, we're planning and
the
keeping the
body
right
language.
players.
The body language is insane.
Yeah.
So
This is why I don't put any stock in these, questions of whether
whoever's
they're going to be
telling
here or
you-
not, because they don't act like they're not going to be here.
Right. Whoever's telling you, or there's any other pod that's telling you that they're leaving, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm just saying. Another one. There's when they ask him about his contract, Musi, it says, "We are concentrated in the playoffs. There are not. It says there are 12 players, and right now we are focusing on the playoffs. So 12 players plus 11 plus the 12 men, which is the people. So we're all concentrated on the playoffs. So they're all locked in the playoffs. They don't even want to, you know what I mean? It's
not a question right now.
Right.
They don't want to talk about it. We don't. I mean, really, for the playoffs, like I'm all for renew them and all that, but we're gonna focus on the soccer right now.
Right. Now, the last thing I want to say regarding this, Musi added, "I'm extremely pleased how everything is going in the club, with the new ownership. as well as with Oscar.
And by the way, a lot of people don't realize this, but like if Oscar were to be fired, it would be Luis who fires him,
Exactly.
right? Like it's
Yeah.
not, you're not getting, the Wilfs aren't flying
Yeah.
in to be like, Oscar, you're out. Like
You're out,
that's not,
buddy.
that's not, there's a hierarchy here. Luis is
Right.
at the top of the soccer ops, right? So if they're going to renew Luis, then it's his choice to renew Oscar. And I don't know about you, but it looks to me
I
like he
think-
likes Oscar. So
Yeah,
I think
they look like a pretty good
yeah,
duo
this
in
is
my
why we talk
opinion.
about it being a trickle down effect, right? Luis is,
Exactly.
we're asking Oscar, are you being renewed? And he's looking at Luis being like, I don't know, is this guy being renewed? Because that's how it works. Like, so, you know, it's just funny to me. So if anybody thinks that the reason that Oscar's not got a new contract is because we're waiting on somebody to come and to do it, yeah, that person is Luis, and he's waiting
This
for
doesn't
somebody
look.
else. So
Yeah, and it's comical because people talk so much trash, man. Yeah, it's comical because this doesn't look to me like a press conference that Tite is gonna show up. You know, Tite is gonna show up from the window like this.
he might. You still got
Hi,
TJ coming out the
hello. Right?
out the.
I don't think
He's like,
Tite-
actually, it was a joke. I'm not going to Brazil. Ha.
Right. So it doesn't look like they're ready to move on. It just says, I'm extremely pleased how everything is going with the ownership. The club is doing. It is now playoff season. Now we have Nashville SC. And listen to this. Guys, listen to this. We are in a mission to win the MLS Cup. There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
I mean,
And
Duncan looks determined. You know, Oscar
everyone looks like they
determined.
want to win it.
I'd say nothing but, you know, determination and drive from the boys. I mean, I keep saying it, Luis, but I'm, you know, there's not much to be negative about right now.
That's right.
Everything is lining up. We're going to keep knocking on wood all day. Every time we say anything. I'm superstitious. I can't. I don't want to put it out there in the world.
I'm going to say this. This is probably going to bit me in the butt.
Yeah, be careful.
If Orlando wins,
don't put the bad juju out there, Luis.
Look, if Orlando wins this next two games, and I'm not there because clearly I won't be there.
Yeah, we won't be there.
Then that means that every playoff game I need to stay home, right, for the rest of my right.
That'll be it. You won't be able to go anymore.
Exactly. You know, we'll see. No,
we got to figure out something for this Nashville away game too. I don't know where I'm gonna go watch this thing.
Well, I mean,
Tuesday.
It is a bad timing. You know, like imagine like me. You know, I have talking about Grant Hill and his kids and things. Like my young daughter is gonna start playing the sport. She's 6. She just turned 6. And you know, I put it into a soccer academy, a winter league that starts fairly soon. So you know, I kind of in a way understand how pride games, you know, are so motivating, right? And I showed her on TV, and look, she's 6. Some of the games through Paramount, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, so you, Daddy, you go there and you see the players, like you know, you talk to them." I was like, yeah, you know, so it's like for kids, it's just like so like, man, it's like seeing this like player scoring these goals, like, you know, it's like a superhero, right? So I think it's fantastic, you know, the atmosphere that Orlando has, and I commend everybody to go to Pride games for next season. Now,
and go on Monday, go tomorrow. We need everybody.
Yeah, we
there.
need everyone too. We need everyone to go. So
I
now,
really hope, Luis, I'm gonna be sad if we have a playoff game and it's not. And I won't blame the fans. I'll blame MLS for scheduling it on a Monday.
The MLS
night, you know?
I mean, honestly, it is.
Hey, you know, like we said, it's hard to get hype, and it's hard to tailgate, and it's hard to do everything. It's hard to travel. It's hard to, you know, people have regular stuff they're doing.
I couldn't get it off.
They got after school band practice for the kids, whatever,
Right,
you know.
right.
Stuff
They
is
have
happening.
they have
It's
commitments.
a Monday
to
night.
go.
We're usually doing a pod, Luis. You
Exactly.
know? We usually
like,
got our own thing
like
going
I finish like, you know, one of the things is like I'm overloaded because you know, like it's, you know, that's one of the persons that's in charge of certain parts of my job, it's gone on vacation. So now I have to take the load of 2 people. So it is quite hectic. So, and I can take time off. So, unfortunately, it's just,
Yeah.
if
I
if
think we're
if
just
it would
one
have
of
been on a
many.
Friday or a Saturday, I would have said, okay, this is better scheduling right there. But
And
do it
I
on a
think that's the
Monday. It's
thing. When
crazy.
it's a Monday night game, more people are likely to say I can't go because I got X, Y, and Z, right? So
Now, if they're so concerned about the NFL, why did they put it on Monday Night Football? Are they dumb?
I don't know, man. Or
You
they're
know?
not concerned about because they're playing games Saturday night, Sunday night right now, So it just so happens they don't like us in Nashville is what it is. They pick their favorite markets is what it is. They pick their
Right.
favorite markets to put on a Saturday night. They don't like us in Nashville, I mean, they put Seattle versus FC Dallas, so I don't know. Maybe they don't like Seattle anymore either, but
Well,
it's
Seattle has
it's
had a horrible
yeah.
horrible season. I mean,
You know what's really funny is next week there's, no games on a Thursday or a Friday, but they're playing, on a Monday and a Wednesday. I just, it's like a drunk baby scheduled this round of playoffs, I just don't understand
it feels like in a way they're
what
trying to
happened.
rush. They're trying to rush so everyone goes to international competition too. You know what I mean?
It's
Let's
stupid.
just
It's just terrible
let's just do it.
scheduling.
Let's just
And
do it.
also,
And
why did it take so long to tell us when a playoff game was? They should have that set from the beginning of the year. This
I
is when
agree.
this team that finishes here plays this team that finishes here on this date. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, and all I'm saying is, look, we're gonna be in charge of the World Cup. Like, guys, like, get it together. Like,
All right.
we cannot
No.
be looking. We cannot be looking like
I
we're
think that a
fools.
lot of this has to do with Apple. I think Apple and MLS are having problems with figuring out how to schedule stuff and what they're doing. And the League's Cup was the same thing. I mean, we're playing, it's hard to say this with a straight face, but the Open Cup has better freaking scheduling than MLS
Yeah.
right this year. Like, at least they know what they're doing, right?
No,
They're playing games on a Wednesday, but at least it's consistent.
I have a question. Like, I always had this question, and I know that you know a lot of the USL market because obviously Orlando City back in the past. Why can the MLS absorb USL?
They're completely two entirely different
Right.
businesses. There was an opportunity years ago where MLS should have bought the USL, and they didn't. And now I think USL is big, but they could put enough money together. They could probably do it.
Yeah, because look, there's so
I
many
think
other
they don't.
teams
They
like
don't want
Pittsburgh
pro rel. They're
Riverhounds.
not interested in pro rel. They don't want that. And USL, like we said, are going to do that. And
I mean,
think
we
it's
could be seeing the end of USL too.
they don't know how to have a franchise with the idea of having tiers of leagues because it doesn't make any sense to them. Because that's like being like, oh, there's an NFL 1 and an NFL 2, right? Like, it doesn't work that way. So that's the reason.
Okay, so we're doing our 11 for the game against Nashville. I think, I don't know if you agree with this starting 11, or you feel like it's going to be changing.
No, I think that is.
I believe this.
I
is
don't
gonna
think
be
you can argue, Luis. That is our best starting 11 right now.
Yeah, I do agree. I think this is going to be a starting 11. You have Galese up top, Dagger Dan, Antonio Carlos Jensen, and Rafael Santos. You have the double pivot, which is, I think, one of the reasons why we've excelled so much, not only in defending, because it makes the defensive role of the backs easier. They're able to stay in position, stay hooked of when the other team goes in attack, right? And Mauri right there as your 10. Then you have Ivan Angulo on your left. You got Facundo on your right. And you have at top the Holland of the Heartland, Duncan McGuire. Big dunk. Dunk, 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 dunk. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it picks itself. You know, not that we don't have a big deep squad, but this is just, I think, the best 11 we can put out, and it's shown. You know, Angulo, I'm hoping he's coming with the same
mentality.
lethal mentality that we've seen
I
in
agree.
recent games,
He's
because
been-
that Angulo can
It's been crazy.
can
man.
run all the way and put it in the back of the net on his own, right? So
And he's
we
made
need that guy.
Brazilian-
We need Mauricio more than anybody. I think we need
He's-
that Mauricio. Yeah. The
he's
only one's
made-
questionable in here is whether Antonio is going to start, like you mentioned. I think that's a big debate.
now,
Arguably, Schlegel should stay in, right? I mean, I think it would be harsh.
Schlegel has the
I think Schlegel has the capacity to fall apart and do something majorly wrong at any point, but he hasn't done that in a while. There were some sticky games for sure, but in the last 5 or 6, he's been pretty consistent, when you say so. Based on that, like, if you're not looking at, forget for a minute that Antonio is Antonio, right? And forget that Schlegel is a Schlegel. And I bring you just, this is your team, and you have one guy that's been playing the last 5 weeks and he's been doing a good job. And then you have another guy who, you know, is the starting guy, but hasn't been playing for a long time. Just from that objectively, I would say, okay, well, I'm going to keep playing the guy who's been doing good for me, because I don't want to rock the boat going into playoffs. And, you know, until he maybe makes an error, you know, then it's his job to lose, right? Could be the argument on that side for Schlegel to stay in. I think because we know how good Antonio Robin Janssen partnership can be, that's swaying us more towards wanting to get him back in there. But arguably, Rodrigo has done a very good job recently.
one of the, to me, one of the two best center back duos in the MLS, when they're healthy, right? And they're both healthy. And this is a playoff game, and I think we need to put out there our
We
best.
saw them right at the end of Toronto together.
Right. So I have a feeling that we should tell Antonio, hey, let Jansen go deep down. You stay behind. Because
I think that's what Schlegel learned well with Jansen. Right. They learned that together. Right. But you would assume that Antonio still has that. Right. When he played,
because you see Antonio Carlos driving the ball up front.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we cannot have, because that's the issue with the
two ball playing center backs that like to dribble forward with the ball a little bit.
One has to stay behind.
It's fine, but it can be dangerous, especially a team like Nashville that will press you.
Yes,
for sure. Yeah, we have to be careful of that.
I will tell Antonio Carlos. Look, Cesar, have a look out back, because Antonio's right behind you. Dagger, stay compact on the wing, and Jansen, you go forward if that's what you need to do, and Antonio, you stay back, until we know that we have the ball in possession. Then try to go a little forward if that's what you want to do. But
I would go for Antonio in there, and then if it looks like this game he didn't. Maybe we had some errors or it wasn't working. And I'll be like, okay, well then Schlegel's back in, right? Like,
yeah, you have to make in playoff games, you have to make the change. Yeah, you have to make the change quickly. You cannot.
Yeah,
wait.
I think give him this, but that's the beauty of the 3-game is
right.
I'm not saying this is going to happen, but like if Antonio goes in and has a big defensive error, it's not going to cost us. We can survive a goal or two. Losing one game, wouldn't be the end of the world. Whereas if it was a single game elimination, it's all or nothing. So I think the time is right to bring him back in. I think Oscar will bring him back in. But it's good to know that Schlegel's in form if we need him, because like Antonio could get injured again, right? We don't know.
Let's hope not. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood again, dude. I'm just projecting all these things into the world. I'm going to stop.
I'm like an angry
stop
beaver.
Having negative thoughts, Luis, until after this game.
I'm like a beaver. I'm about to chop some wood, knock some wood down.
Only positive thoughts. That's what we're gonna do.
Positive thoughts. Like I'm telling you, if you're all gonna come and be like these people in the middle of the summer going like, oh, we're gonna suck. we're gonna be like, like what was this guy? Oh, I don't think there's we're not Florida. I don't think Florida's purple anymore. Inter Miami's better. Puppy out. You're gonna be like that. Around this time where we're the most successful is not gonna work out. Like, honestly, this is our squad. These are the boys that are gonna go battle. I think it's a best of 3. I think we have it, guys. I think we have a huge chance of winning it all this year. Like, it's a huge chance. I don't think. For all the interviews we've seen today in this show, and if you're watching interviews that you've listened, I don't believe that this team is demoralized. This team is doubting themselves. They're like, oh, well, yeah, we'll see what we can do. They're determined of winning it all. Even from Musi and Pareja's body language. So pretty impressive how far as a club we've come, right? From being that club playing Disney World of Sports, remember, John? Man, I remember those times. And from that to MLS, then sucking a couple of seasons, right? and then Oscar came in, didn't promise, a lot of, he didn't promise anything when he first came in, and then look how the team turned around completely, right? So again, Galese up top, Rafael Santos, Jansen, Antonio Carlos, and Dagger Dan, Willer Cartagena and Cesar Araujo, Mauricio Pereira, Angulo, Facundo Torres, and Duncan McGuire. That'll be a starting squad for tomorrow. Now, tomorrow we are going to have a watch-along game. We're going to be watching we're going to be reacting to the game live, and then after that we're going to do we're going to do all the analysis post game. Probably John is going to be at the stadium, so probably he'll join probably from the wall. I don't know. Paola will also be there, so we'll have some reactions there from John and Paola. So definitely exciting things. First time we do this here at the pod. So, John, anything else you want to add before we go?
No, buddy. Just let's go and vamos Orlando.
Vamos Orlando. Positive vibes. Thank you guys, and we'll see you later in the week to preview hopefully the next Nashville game. Have a wonderful day.
See you all tomorrow.
Vamos Orlando. See you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.